Xavier Worthy was already considered to be one of the top wide receiver prospects of the 2024 NFL Draft. He had a prolific career while at Texas, as he leaves as one of the best players in program history. The wide receiver made history this weekend as he ran the fastest 40-yard dash we've ever seen. So, who exactly is Xavier Worthy, and how did he get to this point in his career? Before we get to today's video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel, so make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. Worthy became a top 100 recruit while at Fresno Central East High School in California, but it didn't happen right away like it does for a lot of other top recruits. As a sophomore, he caught only 10 passes. He did manage to turn those into 260 yards with 3 touchdowns. Everyone knew of his speed, but the production on the field just wasn't there. At least yet. Entering his junior campaign, the only scholarship Worthy had came from San Jose State. He wasn't a name that was on anyone's radar up until that point. Despite being one of the fastest high school football players in the country, the production still needed to come on the field. Well, as a junior, it did. He caught 55 passes for 1,000 yards with 16 receiving touchdowns. His team went 15-0 and won the CIF title. Offers came in from top programs including Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, LSU, Oregon, and Michigan. Unfortunately, as his recruiting process was heating up, COVID was going on. Worthy wasn't able to take official visits and had to build relationships over Zoom calls. According to The Athletic, Worthy became a big believer in Michigan offensive coordinator Josh Gaddis and his speed and space mantra, and that connection persuaded him to commit to Michigan in July of 2020. The Wolverines had landed who Jim Harbaugh called one of the top players in the country. Steve Sarkisian was Alabama's offensive coordinator at the time of Worthy's recruitment and was doing everything he could to get him to Alabama. Worthy attended Alabama's Iron Bowl win over Auburn and toured the campus, sparking rumors that he'd be flipping his commitment to the Tide. But that never happened, and Worthy remained committed to Michigan and signed in December of 2020. When Worthy first picked Michigan, he planned to be an early enrollee. His school district didn't allow seniors to graduate early, so he had to get creative. He enrolled in Apex Learning Virtual School, an online program, in the fall of 2020. It wasn't easy to get that plan lined up without guidance counselors, but he made sure that his class schedule met all graduation and NCAA initial eligibility requirements. In early January of 2021, 2 weeks before Worthy would move to Ann Arbor with J.J. McCarthy, Donovan Edwards, and the other freshmen, there was a problem that emerged out of nowhere. According to The Athletic, Michigan had strict admission standards for mid-year enrollees, and they weren't able to get Worthy admitted into the school. He was told that based on his academic profile, he would be better to enroll in June for Michigan's Summer Bridge program. In an interview with The Athletic, Worthy's mother didn't understand what the issue was. For me, that didn't fly. I turned in all of his academic paperwork and applications in September. As far as I had been told, up until 2 weeks before, he was on track to enroll early. There was nothing missing, nothing short. They'd waived the SATs. It didn't make sense. Something wasn't right. What's the problem, and why am I finding out about this now? Worthy still wanted to honor his commitment to Michigan, so he moved to Ann Arbor and got an apartment. When Michigan posted a video of mid-year move-in day on January 16th, Worthy was missing from that video. 2 days later, he announced on Twitter that to end all the drama and speculations, I am not enrolling early. Since he wasn't enrolled, he wasn't able to work out at the football facility. All he could do was join in on Zoom meetings. After a month of trying to make it work, he ended up moving back home to Fresno. Here's more of what Worthy's mother told The Athletic. Michigan messed that up. The trust wasn't there. For us, trust is so big in everything. We just never felt like we were getting the truth about what happened. It was just a lot of, we're sorry. Worthy returned home, and Central East High School was playing a 5-game spring season, but he wasn't allowed to participate. With Michigan now out of the equation, he had to figure out a new program. For Xavier Worthy, the decision would be pretty easy. It would be wherever Steve Sarkisian was coaching. Sark had landed the Texas job 2 weeks after signing day. Worthy officially asked to be released from his national letter of intent in April and committed to the Longhorns during their spring game. He had never even visited Austin before and didn't consider anywhere else. Although Worthy hadn't seen game action in over a year, he was the starter for Texas in week 1. In just his 3rd career game, he caught 6 passes for 70 yards with a score. A week later, in his first Big 12 matchup, he caught 5 passes for 100 yards with 3 receiving touchdowns. His coming out party then came in the biggest game of the year against the Sooners a couple of weeks later. In the Red River Shootout, Worthy caught 9 passes for 260 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. He went on to have a freshman All-American season and picked up first-team All-Big 12 and Offensive Freshman of the Year honors. He led the team with just under 1,000 yards and had 12 receiving touchdowns. Worthy established single-season Texas freshman records in receptions, yards, and receiving touchdowns. He also set single-game Texas freshman records for receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. He led all FBS freshman wide receivers and the Big 12 in receiving yards and receiving yards per game to go along with receiving touchdowns. In addition, Worthy led Power 5 freshmen and ranked 5th overall among FBS freshmen in receptions and receptions per game. With a lot of hype surrounding his sophomore season, he didn't really exceed the high expectations that were set for him. He still finished the 2022 season with solid numbers, but they were nearly identical to his freshman year. Worthy caught 60 passes for just under 800 yards with 9 receiving touchdowns. His numbers took a hit across the board, and he played in 1 extra game. Well, as it turns out, there was a reason for it. Steve Sarkisian revealed during the spring of 2023 that Worthy was playing with a broken hand for the second half of the season. When looking at his numbers in the second half, it actually makes a lot of sense. He didn't have a receiving touchdown over his final 4 games and averaged only 50 receiving yards per contest over his final 5 games. Worthy had 4 catches for 32 yards and 2 drops on 12 targets in a loss against TCU. He then had 3 more drops in the Alamo Bowl against Washington. There were 53 receivers in the FBS that season who saw 100 plus targets, and Worthy catching 53% of them ranked 49th. Worthy didn't tell reporters which hand was broken, or when, or how he broke it. He actually didn't even know how or when it happened. He was under the impression it was a bone bruise. I really couldn't squeeze anything. You let it hit your hands, and you've got to try to hold on to it. I used to get tape before every game, extra tape, a lot of tape. Worthy refused to sit out and try to tough it out for the team. He said his teammates needed him and that he was playing for Texas. Some days in practice, Steve Sarkisian said they wouldn't even throw him the ball in an attempt to manage his injury, and they did all this while keeping this a secret as well. Following Texas's bowl game in 2022, Worthy was reevaluated and learned he played with a broken right hand. He wore a cast for 8 weeks, but luckily it didn't require surgery. As it turns out, that injury was limiting Xavier Worthy, as his junior campaign was by far the best of his career. He finished 2023 with career highs in catches and receiving yards. He caught 75 passes for over 1,000 yards. His touchdown numbers did take a bit of a hit as he had only 5 receiving touchdowns, but he was playing with more weapons at Texas than ever before. Worthy was selected first team All-Big 12 by the conference's coaches, and he was named AP All-Big 12 first team as a wide receiver and an all-purpose player. His 75 receptions were the 7th most in a season in Texas history, while he posted the 11th 1,000-yard receiving season for a Longhorn. That would be it for Xavier Worthy as he declared for the 2024 NFL Draft. With such a loaded wide receiver class, Worthy had to make a name for himself to climb up draft boards. Well, he did just that this weekend. He blew everyone away when he ran a 4.25 40-yard dash. It was the fastest of the weekend, and he could have easily called it quits right there. That would have been more than enough to catch the eyes of every football fan and executive watching. Instead, he opted to run again. And it's a good thing he did, because it was a historic run. Xavier Worthy ran an official 4.21 40-yard dash, the fastest in the history of the combine. Yeah, it's safe to say he caught everyone's attention with that run. In an already loaded wide receiver class, Worthy has now really put his name on the map. The production was easily there in college, but after running this record-breaking 40 time, there's a chance that Xavier Worthy is now one of the top wide receivers selected in the 2024 NFL Draft. So what are your thoughts on Xavier Worthy breaking the 40-yard dash record? Do you think that's a big deal, or are you not putting too much stock into it? Also, where do you think he should be drafted, and which team do you think will end up selecting him? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. I'm posting college football videos all off season, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.